Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the conference committee. And welcome to the House. Glad to see you here. I'm sorry this isn't as intimate a setting as we usually are in over in the DLS building. You seem so far away,
Right.
but I know you're so close at hand.
Yeah, we are. This way, we can't throw anything. Paper clips.
Right?
You ready?
I am so ready.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, so on your desk, you have a whole pile of paper. The first thing is a landscape white paper document that goes through each of the 48 amendments that are in difference. The other document you'll be using quite a bit is the, we're going to call this salmon-colored paper that has some new language and things that have been discussed. For the most part, I think subcommittee chairs have been talking, so I think we should be able to go through this fairly quickly. You do have the committee report if you need to look at the actual amendment or you want to see something. So with that, the first amendment actually relates to the Department of Legislative Services. It was language the House added, adding funds for a cannabis disparity study at $250,000. I think there's also some other language you may want to consider related to the General Assembly and DLS.
And that language is,
Well, we can start with the language on the salmon page.
yeah,
So there's a bill, Senate Bill 926, moving along that would require a study essentially, or just a commission on apprenticeship. This would add $500,000 to the budget contingent on that bill passing, so the DLS could hire consultants to support that. We should hand this out. And then we're going to hand out a separate late-breaking piece of paper as well.
But that's not directly tied to the
It is
cannabis.
not, we're just covering all the General Assembly in the one amendment. So I think the first question is, are you okay with the House adding this $250,000 disparity study?
Yes.
Contingent on the cannabis?
Yes.
Okay. The second question would be whether you like that first salmon-colored page on the Apprenticeship Commission, with the funding being contingent on the bill actually passing.
correct,
Are you okay with that?
correct.
Yes.
Great. And then I think we're handing out right now a single page related to the General Assembly and Department of Legislative Services that would add $9 million to the General Assembly's budget to be allocated between the House and Senate and some general legislative expenses, and add $17 million to the Department of Legislative Services budget along with 26 positions. That includes money for a new operating and capital budget system as we go into the brave new world of adding to the budget, as well as staff for a variety of units and some salary money.
I'm fine with that. Good.
You good with that?
You okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Just one last thing on the cannabis language. It was drafted in the House to be contingent both on the bill and the constitutional amendment, but the study is actually in the bill, not contingent on the constitutional amendment. So we're going to make a technical adjustment to
Okay.
conform to the bill. All right. The second amendment is also related to legislative services. The House added $750,000 for consultant studies related to the Family Medical Leave Program.
That's fine.
Yes.
You okay with that? Okay. All right, in the judiciary, the House added $3 million to the judiciary budget related to the cannabis legislation and expungement laws to help them sort of process this expungements.
Yes.
That's fine.
All right, and while we're there in the judiciary, there's also language in, I think, your salmon packet, is it?
Right, there is.
Oh, sorry. First on page 2, there's a modification to that language that also would add positions to the judiciary to do the expungement work, 41 positions. On page 2, are you okay with that?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
Very well. And then on page 3, you had already agreed to add $6.4 million for access to counsel services for the Maryland Legal Services Corporation. This would change that to $10 million and.
Yes.
yes.
You're good. Very good. All right, and then Amendment 4 also relates to Judiciary and Maryland Legal Services. It's adding $2.5 million, again related to the cannabis bill and the expungement requirements to help provide legal assistance to people.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. All right, Amendment 5 is in the Maryland Energy Administration, and restricted $9.2 million of funds to be used for bill payment assistance.
It's House, right? House
I
language.
think,
Yeah,
I think that was my understanding, but
Yeah.
yes.
we're fine.
Amendment 6 is the Governor's Office of Crime Prevention, et cetera. It restricted $750,000 for the National Center for Victims of Crime.
And
So
it has
this.
And I guess there's an alternative on page 4 that adds some
That's
different
what I was looking
language.
for.
4?
Let's just keep edging.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Salmon
I
page.
think the subcommittee chairs agreed to that. That's fine. Yes.
Okay? We're all good? Okay, Amendment 7, same Governor's Office, increased the amount being withheld pending a report on managing for results from 100,000 to 125,000.
That's okay?
Yep. Yes. Subcommittee chairs, chime in on your stuff.
Yeah.
All right, and then the next one is in the Property Tax Assessment Appeals Board. The House amended some language restricting funds pending a report.
That was House language.
Yeah, it's not,
Okay.
okay. All right, Amendment 9, Department of Budget and Management. So the House struck language asking for report on rebasing salaries and just added it in a different amendment, Amendment 44, in the back of the bill, because they wanted to include MDOT in that study on top of the executive branch agencies that DBM provides the personnel support to.
Correct?
So you'd be okay, and then you'll be okay with Amendment 44. Okay. All right, State Highway Administration is Amendment 10. The House restricted some money to be used only for the Route 5 reconstruction project.
It's what?
Page 26 of the salmon pages, I think that's an alternative to the rejection.
Okay. So we can reject this and adopt the salmon page.
Yeah, when the salmon is different budget codes, you also look at
Okay, got it.
Okay.
that, right?
Yep,
Yeah,
and,
Unless you want to keep it.
Okay.
and can we talk about the salmon page a little bit?
Let's do it.
Let's make that 1,500,000. Okay?
It's fine.
Okay.
excellent. All right, Amendment number 11, Maryland Port Administration. The House restricted some funding pending a report on the performance audit of Easy Pass. I think there's an alternative here on page 5. Is
Page 5, okay, got it.
that right? Yeah. It just has some different wording and makes it contingent on a bill.
Okay,
Okay?
yep,
Okay. All right. Department of, Amendment 12 is still Maryland Transit Administration, modifying language requiring comparisons with peer agencies on hiring and retention. House just tweaked the Senate language.
okay,
Okay?
Also, in Transit Administration, restricting funds pending a status report on the Purple Line. That was new House language.
Yep.
Great.
yep,
Amendment 14 is Department of Natural Resources, striking language related to the Baltimore City Direct Grant Program Open Space.
correct.
Okay. And
Those are
then
included in another part of the budget.
Okay.
15, I think also relates to the salmon page 7. So I think your agreement is to make some changes and adopt page
Right.
7. Is that correct? Yes.
That's correct.
All right. Is the Senate good?
Yep, that's
Okay.
fine.
Amendment 16, Department of Natural Resources, basically restricted funds pending a report on the hiring and promotion practices in the DNR police, and I think you have a new page on that in the salmon, or an amended page 9.
Page 9?
Yep.
Okay.
I assume this reflects discussions between the subcommittee chairs?
Is that correct? Okay,
Great.
good.
Okay.
All right, also in Department of Natural Resources, restricting funds pending a report on the condition and needs of 16 state lakes. This was House language.
Good.
Okay. Maryland Department
Yeah.
of Health, starting.
That's
We're
fine.
good? Yep.
Yeah.
Amendment 18 in the Department of Health modifies language requiring a report on the recoupment and forgiveness. The House just modified the Senate language. Looks like people are nodding, so.
Yeah.
Sign.
Okay. Also in the Health Department, modifying the submission date for report on the Office of Chief Medical Examiner. Again, the House just made a modification.
Fine.
Correct.
Very good. Amendment 20 restricts funds pending a report on the process for Medicaid claiming at school-based health centers. This was new House language.
Yeah.
Yep.
21, restricted funds pending submission of a quarterly reports on community services utilization data. This was House language.
Right.
Yeah.
Very good. 22, restricts funds pending a report on home and community-based services expansion. Again, House language.
Yes.
Okay. On to the Department of Labor, where you restricted funds pending a report on unemployment insurance process. That was the House language.
Yep. House.
Yep, that's fine.
All right, 24, Department of Public Safety and Correctional Services increased by 500,000, the amount restricted to be used for, to increase employment within the Information Technology Division and the Capital Construction Division. So it went from 500 to $1 million. I think I'd heard that there might be a compromise in the middle. Is that
750.
750?
Okay.
All right, Amendment 25 in Public Safety, the House struck Senate language restricting 100,000 pending a report on unsupported medical payments. Okay, narrative instead, is that good? Okay.
Do we have the narrative, do
Was it
we have a page
narrative
on this?
instead? Okay.
Do we have it?
Right.
We good? We'll share it after you.
We have it later, fine.
Yeah. All right, Amendment 26 is also Public Safety and Correctional Services. The House struck Senate language restricting 150,000 related to the Women's Pre-Release Center.
We're going with the Senate, right? We're going with the Senate. Senate.
Okay.
Senate.
All right, now in the State Department of Education, language ensuring that the schools participate, all right, so this gets into the non-public school programs things. Participate in the aid to non-public schools program and are compliant with program eligibility requirements. It was House language.
House. Yeah. Good.
Okay, 28 amends the boost language to specify scholarship award requirements, including that students must have received the award in the prior year.
We take the Senate position.
All right, in Department of Ed, added language specifying eligibility requirements, including that schools participating in the nursing program must also participate in the aid to non-public schools program. So it really goes with with Amendment 30. So there was $2.5 million of new money in the budget for school nurses in the non-public schools. The Senate cut that because there's a lot of federal money going to the non-public schools. The House restored it and added some language that's Amendment 29.
Are we going with the Senate?
The supplemental added something close to $40 million for non-public schools.
So the Senate,
Okay,
so you want
Good.
29 and,
30.
but 30 us, 29 you.
Got it.
Got it. Does that work?
Does that work?
Yeah, I mean, 29 only relates to the money you're cutting.
No.
So if you're cutting the money, if you're taking the Senate position on the funding, you should take the Senate
Take
position.
the Senate
don't need it.
position
Okay.
on 29, right?
Yep, 29.
So Senate 29, Senate 30.
Senate and
Correct.
Right.
All right, Interagency Commission on School Construction, increased from 300,000 to 500,000, the amount restricted pending a report on the requirements of HB 1290.
House position, and we have a color page, right?
Do we have a color page?
Yeah, I think so.
We do not have a color.
We do not have a color page.
I think we understood you were going with the original language, it's just you're going back.
No,
Nope.
We just passed that bill this
It's-
morning,
Yeah,
by the way.
I think our understanding was you were gonna keep the modification to make the language contingent on the bills, but change the restriction back to what the Senate had restricted at
I got it.
300.
House language, Senate amendment is
What was the amount?
Yeah.
300,000.
You amended the bill,
Right,
and we're taking your amendment,
right.
right? Okay? We're
Passed
taking
this
the
morning.
amended bill. But the House language. All right?
Good?
Yep,
Okay, all right. Amendment 32 in the IAC. The House struck language that restricted funding pending a report on public charter and contract school facilities.
House.
House position?
House. House?
Senator. Senator King? Okay,
Huh?
yes, that's fine.
Okay.
No, wait a minute. Hold that. We need to send it on that one, please.
You want to hold that one?
Let's hold it.
Okay,
All right,
okay. Holding 32.
Right.
all right.
All right.
On to 33, University of Maryland, Baltimore. So the Senate had fenced some money for the Global Virus Network. The House struck the fencing. I thought I understood that the funding had been resolved so that you could go with the House position, but,
House.
Okay.
Okay.
all right, in the Higher Education Commission, there's, I guess, House language restricting funds pending a report on the reorganization of MHAC.
House.
It's fine.
In higher ed, this is a repeat of the Global Virus Network, so I think you're doing the House position here as well.
Okay.
All right, at 36, Department of Commerce, add language restricting 100,000 in general funds pending a report on the development of an equity plan for the department. It's House language.
House.
Sure.
Also in Department of Commerce, adding language restricting 100,000 in the Office of Secretary pending a report on the calculation of the Arts Council. Brianna?
Yeah.
Sure.
They made a goof this year. Go ahead.
Okay, Amendment 38, Department of Commerce, increases by 550,000 the amount restricted, and adds 2 additional purposes to the use of the restricted funds pertaining to the business development in Prince George's County. I think we also have some language, not exactly related, but on page 11 of the salmon. Oh, sorry, starting on page 10, I'm told.
Page 11.
Page 10 first.
Oops. Oh, boy.
You know about this?
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Oh, so you want to explain that?
So this page does 2 things. The first is that it strikes the restricted funds for the downtown partnership because the supplemental budget that was introduced yesterday provided that funding for that purpose. And then the other modification is to restrict $200,000 for the military bowl game and events.
You okay with that? Okay.
I'm thinking there might have been another piece to this, if I'm not mistaken. Is that somewhere else?
We got it.
Got it? Oh. Here it comes. Here comes a surprise, right? We love these surprises.
You should have gotten this earlier today.
Uh-oh. Oh, yeah.
So this restricts money for the Play Sports
Yeah.
Coalition.
That's fine.
Okay.
Okay with that?
Yeah.
All right, I think we're done with Amendment 38, unless somebody picks one. No? All right. Amendment 39, Department of Environment, add language restricting 200,000 in general funds pending the annual Maryland Scrap Tire report.
That's
Great.
great.
Need to do that now?
We can do it there.
State Reserve Fund, Amendment 40. I think we have language on this,
Yeah.
is that correct? All right, you want to explain that?
So the open amendment for the State Reserve Fund is all of the fencing language that had been in the rainy day fund. So there are several pages in your salmon packet, starting on page 13.
Right. Okay,
Supplemental budgets funded the majority of items that you had included in your rainy day fund fencing language. The language on pages 13 and 14 would restrict the remaining $69 million above 10% for the priority items that had not been funded through the supplemental budget.
correct.
Okay.
Looks right.
On page 15, now we're getting into language that we believe is necessary in order to continue to effectuate your intentions for the supplemental budget items themselves. So in the original rainy day fund fencing language, you had included contingencies for the funding provided for therapeutic child care program and the child care scholarship program. So this is language that is consistent with the fencing language that you had originally had.
Okay,
You'd both agreed to that
Yeah.
language
Yeah.
in both versions? Okay. Page 16 through 19 outlines the specific projects to be funded through the $800 million included for PAYGO in supplemental budget number 4.
right. Good.
And beginning on page 20 and going through page 22 is language that would specify the intentions and uses consistent with your fencing language. So what this language does, this is for the $370 million that was provided for legislative priorities. So this specifies where you had contingencies for enactment of legislation. It does provide specific information in that first paragraph that it says that at least $317 million needs to be transferred out of the dedicated purpose account in fiscal 2023, and specifies that really only the funding for the apprenticeships and the financial IT system, and then 20 million of the 30 million allocated for autism should be retained in the fund for future uses. It delineates $250,000 specifically for supporting Department of Labor costs associated with apprenticeship work groups that are defined in related narrative that you both agreed to. It specifically sends $10 million in fiscal 2023 to MSDE to begin supporting increasing the number of autism waiver slots available. And I can go through item by item, but it is largely consistent with what you had both agreed to, or what had been reflected in the fencing language in the House's version.
Is there something, I don't see it immediately, is it the nursing LARP program, I think, was new and it needed language to,
We have an extra page.
look at
in
that.
case. What this language would do is there's $2 million already in the budget and then $1 million that had been provided through the supplemental for the LARP program for the nurses and nursing assistants. And all this does is says, because there is legislation that would relocate that program to MDH, this says if those bills pass, then the funds should be transferred to the new, to where the program is placed in MDH. And if not, then the funds are retained in MHEC where they are currently budgeted and programmed for to be spent in their current manner.
Can we hold this, please? I'd like to
Sure.
hold it.
Sure.
Thank you.
Are we just holding that one piece, or are we holding the whole?
No,
set?
just the one piece.
One piece, okay. All right, is that it for the reserve fund? All right. So we'll keep going, we'll come back to that hold. The Amendment 41 is in the State Department of Education. It restricted 50 million of the fiscal 22 deficiency appropriation for childcare, sort of specifying how it would be used. This was House language. Just getting into a little more detail on the use of the stabilization grants.
House.
Amendment 42 added language that alters the budget amendment process for certain federal funds allocated to Maryland. I think based on your negotiations with the administration, you're going to go to the Senate.
Senate.
Yes.
Okay. Amendment 43 restricted money, just increased the amount of restricted funds related to the governor's office, a crime, et cetera, from 100,000 to 150,000.
Yeah.
It's fine.
And Amendment 44 was related to Amendment 9. Based on what you did before, you would agree to Amendment 44. Just replaced the, it's the one that added the MDOT to the rebasing study on personnel. Okay.
Good.
All right, Amendment 45 adds a section restricting funds from public safety and judiciary pending a report on home detention monitoring. I think you might be agreeing to
Senate.
do narrative, which is
Narrative.
actually on page 23 of the Salmon page.
Okay, got it. Good,
Okay,
very good.
good with that?
Yep.
All right. Amendment 46 added a section restricting funds from the Department of Environment and Agriculture pending a report on enforcement and inspection positions. I think this is something you've done pretty regularly.
Right, House.
Okay. Amendment 47 adds a section restricting funds from public safety and DGS pending a report on the Women's Pre-Release Center. And I think, again, there's narrative replacing that, which is on page 24.
Good,
I think we're good.
fine.
All right. Amendment 48 is just a technical amendment where we have to renumber some of the sections, so we'll, I mean, it's truly technical, so we'll take care of
I
that.
don't like it.
All right,
All right. Amendment 49 struck a 2 million restriction of funds in the rainy day fund for novel police technology. But the House had taken that off on the floor, so that should come out.
okay.
49? Isn't that called 49 though?
Sorry?
House floor one.
House floor, no, it says 49.
Okay. Is that good?
We had different sheets. Got to the same place. All right, so I think we still have some additional color pages. So if we can go back to the salmon page 11, to the TEDCO item there. I understand this is language that you want to add for report on legislative recommendations on economic competitiveness and inclusive growth in advanced industries.
Sure.
Yeah. Good,
Sure.
All right, so where are we, Tanya? What else do we have to cover?
Page 25.
All right, page 25, it just changes in MDOT, looks like the number of positions that you're authorizing. Adding 50 positions?
For the apprenticeship?
oh,
It just raises the position cap
Yeah.
to
Right.
allow them room to have additional positions for establishment of an apprenticeship program.
wait a minute, hang on, let me read this one.
Who asked for this?
It's good. Okay. My subcommittee chair says it's good. Good. I know,
All right, are there other things in salmon we need to?
Yep. They
Keep
did
going.
26, so they did 26 or
Yep.
27.
All right, so I think we're on to page 27 of the salmon document, also in the Department of Transportation, report on cost of constructing a sidewalk along a portion of Maryland 198.
Can we amend that and make it 100,000 instead of 250?
Hold on, I'm sorry, I was looking at something else. Where are we?
Page 27 of the Salmon. Restricting some funding pending a report on constructing a sidewalk along Maryland 198.
Sure,
And the House Chair wants to make it 100,000 rather than 250.
it's fine.
All right, looks like we have another one on the next page, page 28, and also in, this is State Highway. Tying up $2 million. I think this is from the Baltimore City grant to be used for to support the Banner City route.
I don't know. Who wants this? Okay, I guess.
All right, now page 29 and page 30 really go together. They're in the Medicaid program and they relate to the authorization for using state funds to fund Medicaid-funded abortions.
Right.
And it basically tries to conform the language to the legislation that is moving along, contingent on the enactment of the legislation.
Right.
Just hold this for a minute.
Hold for a minute?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so that takes us to page 31. All right, so in the Maryland Healthcare Commission, there had been budget language that tied up some money for a study on the behavioral health system. And I think it's been turned into narrative so that you're not taking any of their money from them, but they would still do the study. This is the narrative.
Yes.
Okay,
We're good?
okay.
All right, then we're on to page 33. This relates to the autism waiver. I think there was budget language in the State Department of Ed, and this would replace it with narrative, so. Are we-
Okay,
Okay,
All right, and then the last page of the Salmon, page 34, has language relating to neighborhood revitalization. So you had agreed to fence some money out of the neighborhood revitalization for 2 projects, and this is adding a 3rd project, taking $750,000 for the Washington College to do a project.
yes.
yes. Okay,
All right, so I think we're through the Salmon packet, but we have the hold item.
There's no page.
Okay, there's no page. In the work you had done, you had a report on maintenance of effort from MSDE. You've resolved that with the legislation that I think the Senate anyway has moved along. So we think you can just drop the report because you've taken care of the maintenance of effort requirement in the bill. And the bill actually sets what the maintenance of effort will be for fiscal '23 for each county.
We'll
Bill.
concur on that
We just did
today.
it. Yeah, we just did it.
We'll concur on
Yeah,
that,
but
okay.
it's coming back to you, so you can
Yep.
just
Yep.
fix the problem yourselves.
Just
Not a
passed
problem.
it.
Good.
Okay?
You're gonna, what? 29, which one's that?
Any other items?
Go ahead, go ahead.
We just revisit 29.
Page 29?
Yeah, and I understand the intent was to put the state money in it, and we have this anti-discrimination language, but I think if any public dollars go into this, they should apply with the same discrimination language to lose the public safety grants, textbooks, comply with. So I understand from the perspective of it, not putting the state dollars, we don't need 29, but I still think we need discrimination language on the program. The same as boost, apply with the same as textbooks.
I'm sorry, I'm just trying to get to some language. Amendment 29, not page, page.
Yes,
Which is very good.
yes. So this, yeah, this is back to the non-public school nursing program. You've cut all the funding. So the question is, do you leave the language saying that participants in the program have to abide by all these rules? There's federal funding in the budget, in the supplemental budget, like 38 million, not specific to school nurses, but specific to be allocated to non-public schools. And it has to conform to the allowable uses of the federal funds. So if you wanted to put some sort of language, that would probably be the place to put it, is to like say we want,
Yeah, I mean, it's still public dollars.
Sure.
I still think they should comply with the same boost has to comply with
Yeah.
all the other textbooks, the public safety grants.
Sounds right. So it's the exact same language that we've used else. Well, there was, so I think we took the Senate language on this on boost. Is that what you're suggesting?
Yeah, it's the language you ended up taking, which I think actually we did still ask for the handbooks.
The handbooks are included,
yeah.
slightly modified language.
That's it.
Okay.
It's on page.
So,
It's like item 136.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
All right.
know that nurses have handbooks, but maybe they do.
Right. So how about we take a crack at putting the language together? I think I understand what Delegate Barnes is talking about, and let everybody see it before it's finalized.
That'd be good. That'd be good.
Number 31, and just clarify something.
Really?
The House had language, and so we want the House reporting language, but the Senate amount. We want to make sure that's clear, okay?
Yep, we got
Okay,
that.
got it? Thanks. 32, there's also something. We kept the report. Yeah,
32
we
is
held
on
that
hold,
item.
right?
Yeah,
That's right.
we held that item, right? Okay.
In the report.
There's a narrative in the report. So the Amendment 32 was the report on charter and contract school facilities. Now the House has added narrative. It might actually want to look at the committee report. Sorry, on pages 176 and 177. That's
Okay.
the big, it was in that big packet you
All right,
had,
hang on.
just so you can
What
actually
was the
see what.
pages again?
Page,
177 and 178.
yeah, so if you, I think it's helpful to look at the committee report, which is a big, you know, on page, really starts on page 176 and 177 is Amendment 32, which was the
Right.
Senate language related to the charter and contract school facilities. The House struck all that language and replaced it with narrative that appears on pages 177 and 178. So I guess the question is, do you want either one of these, and if so, are you happy with the House narrative as the solution?
Should.
177, 178?
And what amendment was this again?
Amendment 32.
Oh,
Yeah,
I thought
amendment
I thought that was on hold, but okay.
Yeah, we're,
You're going back.
revisiting.
You're
We're
ready
going
to go. I hear what you're saying.
and we'd like the House
Okay. So
position.
what I was going to suggest, if we are actually through all our items except for the hold ones,
We
Are
have
we?
the hold, and we have some supplemental budget items that we had recommendations on.
okay, I was just going to suggest taking 5 minutes, but we can do the supplemental first?
Okay,
Is that okay?
sure. Go ahead, Tanya.
If you turn to page 18 of the analysis of the supplemental budgets, 3, 4, and 5, this is the present document you saw yesterday when you heard about the supplementals. If you turn to page 18, DLS had some recommended actions related to the items. The first was in the funding for MIMS. There was $500,000 to be used for a contract with Dr. First Mobile Communication System. DLS had recommended deleting the funds because it would be directing a contract to a private company.
other issue,
This- Yep.
Subcommittee chair.
So just very quickly on this, I've been in touch with MIMS and MedCai, who have had this program in effect already in 2 counties. This is just an expansion of that program. It's been doing a lot of pretty good work, and we want to keep this.
Fabulous program.
Okay.
so just to say, this is to the best of my knowledge, the first time the state has directed money to a private contractor without having a procurement in the budget bill.
But it's an expansion of an existing program. The contract's already in place.
What are our thresholds on sole source?
There has to be a determination usually in a contract by, the BPW would have to approve a sole source contract, but usually you have to show as an agency that there's nobody else who can viably provide the service. I think there's questions about whether that's true in this case.
Would this go to the board?
No, this is basically
not.
just giving saying this money is going to this company to do this service.
Why don't we hold this for a minute?
Okay.
All right, so page 19, go ahead.
Page 19, so in the budget, as you had originally adopted it, you had restricted funds in the Department of General Services to be used for support for the Critical Maintenance Facilities Program. The supplemental budget provided positions and funding to support that work, so we're recommending you striking the restriction that was in the kind of budget as you passed it.
This one.
It's fine.
Pages 20 and 21 are related. So there were 2 items in the state library agency, one for the public libraries and one for the resource centers. And we're recommending that you make that funding contingent on the legislation for which the additional funding was based.
Sure.
You can move ahead of 22. You addressed that earlier with your salmon document. So on pages 23 and 24, these are related. So there was, you may recall, a fund swap in the Behavioral Health Administration, replacing the special funds with general funds. So we've recommended adding the annual language that you adopt in the behavioral health, kind of for the provider reimbursements, to restrict that funding to that purpose in both of the places that it occurs in the supplemental.
Yes.
Fine.
One other thing that's not in the document related to the supplemental is, so the supplemental includes the funding for Medicaid adult dental, as you had asked for, and it had it at about 33 million. Now, the bill in both houses has been revised, and the new fiscal note is closer to 26 million. So you could reduce that amount by 6 million to better align with the bill, and that helps you because you're going to close with a fund balance right around 200 million, and there are other bills that you may pass that impact revenues. So if you want to kind of hit your 200 million fund balance goal, it might make sense to do that.
That's good.
That's good.
Okay, so I think that's everything except for the hold items. Is that a correct statement? Okay, yeah, so you just have a couple of things on hold.
Why don't we take 10 minutes?
Yeah.
Reconvene at quarter of.
One
that's
is
right.
the abortion, and the other one is the,
There's 32.
You're right.
yeah,
Play.
32.
The abortion, the loan assistance you wanted to hold.
Yes.
All right. And then the supplemental budget item you just talked about with the
Right.
MIMS.
Okay.
Correct. Yeah, we finished 29.
Ben, did you want to talk about that? The hospital?
I just think we did. But he's saying it's public money. No, but he's saying it's public money.
Go through the hold items, please.
Yeah, so
Thank
I
you.
guess I'll just start in the salmon document. You have that Medicaid abortion language on pages 29 and 30.
House.
Agreed?
Okay. All right, and then we have the LARP question. There was that color page that was handed out on the LARP about making,
I'll
moving the
agree.
money.
I will agree to that.
You're agreeing with that? Okay.
I do want to mention one thing, though. This, just for the record, this is, you know, in regard to bills that are currently in HGO that are being considered. So this is one of those moments where the reason we're in agreement is it's contingent upon the bills passing. And I just want to make sure that that's clear. Thank you.
Okay, then we have Amendment 32, which was the report on the charter and contract school facilities where the House had narrative, the Senate had language.
And we're going to change the amount.
Dollar amount.
Yeah.
50,000.
50,000.
So you go with the language and make it 50,000. Okay. We're still trying to write the Delegate Barnes language on the non-public, the money for the non-public schools. I think we can basically do what the state language says, but we're going to suggest that you have a clause that says to the extent allowable under federal law, so that you don't like block all $40 million from coming into the state if for some reason there's something that, that the federal, rules are different.
You okay? Good? We're good.
That-
Okay.
Okay. All right, and then I think we have the supplemental budget item on that money for that company in the MIMS item.
And, yes,
So could we
Yep.
make this possibly contingent on DPW review and approval?
yes,
Yep.
good.
Yes.
We're fine with that, the contingency.
Okay, I think unless there was anything else anyone wanted to raise.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Mr. Chair, Madam Chair, for supplemental budget number 3, the go capital items number 3 and 4 here, there were more apprehensions. We just wanted to make sure that we did, see if we could do language that doesn't supplant the money that currently is going towards more apprehension, but this is actually supplementing that, just saying we can report that.
I agree wholeheartedly.
Very good.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, I think we've covered everything that I'm aware of, unless there's something any of you have.
No?
Okay. We want you to sign the conference committee report. Sign it, run that around to the.
So as that's coming around, let me thank the House, in particular, Chair McIntosh. We're on the road show of your amazing career,
Thank you.
and this is the last conference that we'll be doing together, and it's been a joy, as always.
It's been a joy. It has.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
everything. And the
Thank you.
citizens of Maryland, thank you.
No. Yeah, I need to sign it. Thank you. You've been great to work with. Here we go. All done. What else you got to do over in the Senate? Anything? Just,
This flood of House bills just keep
I
coming
tell
in.
ya, that's all we got up there. SB. Yeah. It's been a good year.
It's been a very good year.
Unbelievable, isn't it?
It really has.
We've got so much done. I'm very pleased with that family leave, by the way. Spoken as a House member, I'm very pleased with that.
Very good.
That's the Senate bill.
Yeah. Every now and then we get it right.
Yeah,